Shalom, Yashala, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh. I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Yashar Allah. Call Haloyam La Yahweh Wa Yahweh Shai by Hasham Harakakodash. For blessing our elders with the spirit of truth so that we may know. Shout out to the Akim and the Akwak that's keeping the faith in the work. Y'all keep at it. It's your brother Abaya coming at you with more precepts. It's Job 33 and verse 14 says, "For power speaketh once, yea twice, yet man perceiveth it not." In the NLT it reads, "For God speaks again and again, though people do not recognize it." The reason why I'm bringing this out is because years ago, I made a video on it in times past. But years ago, the Lord gave me two dreams back to back that were identical. They were not the exact same, but they were identical. And both of them had to do with the end of Babylon. It had everything to do with the end of America. And it was centered around President Orange. All right. So the climate, I'm gonna describe the dreams and go from there. So the climate of the dream was some kind of civil unrest. Something was going on. The dream picked up like in the midst of, it was chaos, but it wasn't all the way chaotic, if that makes sense. Like it still had some form of order, right? The particular dream started off with me in front of a grocery store, but the grocery store had been changed to like a haven, a safe haven, and I was in front of it in a tent, and the tent was like a medical tent. So some form of chaos was going on, some form of unrest was happening, and I got wounded in the process. It was my leg. But how I was positioned in the tent, I could see whoever was coming in and going out of the store. I could see inside of the store, but only so far, like the front end of the store I could see. And what I saw was a bunch of people that were like huddled up and, in distress. I would assume because of what was going on. But like I said, I was in the medical area being attended to. And all of a sudden I saw like a bunch of like black cars, tinted out, like government cars. And I saw President Orange get out with two bodyguards with him. Two well, look to be like the alphabet security guards, if you know what I'm talking about. They're walking with him. And it's almost as though he was walking through the store to check on things, like to see how things were going. And like I said, I could see in the front of the store, but that's as far as my vision went. As far as being able to see inside of the grocery store that had got turned into a safe haven. And when I tell you, he went in and he didn't stay long. As soon as he came out and was no longer in my sight, all hell broke loose. I mean, all hell broke loose. It was soldiers that were coming out of the woodworks. They were coming from everywhere. And these were not American soldiers. They were in all black. And these soldiers were unaliving every person that they saw. Every person that they saw in the store, because they went into the store first. Every person that they saw in the store, they were unaliving. Right? When I saw that, I instantly, it's like the Lord healed. Whatever wound I had on my leg, it was instantly healed. And the Lord allowed me to be able to run. And so I started running away. Right? It was more things that happened. But I say it was so long ago I can't fully remember. I remember me going or running across an army base, and I do remember this particular part. Running across an army base and running from the same soldiers, but the soldiers were swarming on people like ants, like a sea of ants that if anything was in the way, it just got trampled over, and the only thing that was left behind was carcasses. All right, so it was a Moabite looking woman that was in the way. It looked like she was, all frantic or whatever. And the Lord basically, everything the Lord was telling me to do. I can hear a audible voice in my head, and I knew it was the Lord. And everything that the Lord told me to do, I did, and it led me to safety. And that with zero hesitation. So if I hesitated at all, then I would have been overtaken by those soldiers. So the Lord put the spirit in me to have zero hesitation to be obedient to his word that he was giving me, the instructions that he was giving me on how to evade and continue on. So one of the instructions were, let the Moabite woman run with you. So while she was all frantic, she ended up running with me away from the soldiers. And we were going in and out of barracks. This final barrack that we entered into, some kind of way we hid from the soldiers. The soldiers went all the way to the top of the building. When they reached the top of the building, we ran out and went into a ditch to hide out. And we saw the soldiers come out of the building and run in the opposite direction. Right? So we had evaded that particular set of soldiers. But like I said, it was soldiers everywhere. So we got out of the ditch and started running again. As soon as we started running, more soldiers came. Like a sea of soldiers came. And the Lord said, trip up the Moabite woman to get away. And that's exactly what I did. I shot the cag under the woman. They swarmed on her. I got away. Right? And like I said, it was more to the dream, but that's all I could remember. And I remember me waking up from that dream. And I don't know if you ever had a nightmare and you force yourself to wake up out of that nightmare, it's draining on you. So when I woke up from the dream, I was drained, like I was going through all of that for real. And the Lord put the spirit of slumber back on me, so I went directly back into sleep. All right, so I went to sleep, had that dream, woke up from the dream, went back to sleep. As soon as I went back to sleep, it was almost the exact same dream, but different. This time, we were in some kind of bay that was attached to some body of water. I don't know if it was an ocean or a sea or whatever, but it was a port. And it was like I said, like a warehouse, but the doors of the warehouse were open. So that's how I knew we were on some body of water, because I could see nothing but water as far as the eyes could see. But I was perched up because it was different tiers. So I guess you could say I was on like the third tier, but there was no wall, so you could see throughout the whole, what looked to be like a warehouse. You could see throughout the whole warehouse, and you could see the pier. So if anybody came to the warehouse, you could see who it was, right? So I'm on the third tier, and I'm consoling the people that are around. It's just like the dream before, but instead of me being on the outside of the store, in this particular instance, I was on the inside. But it wasn't a store, it was like a warehouse, right? So I'm consoling the people. Everybody is, they down, they're crying. It was a bunch of women and children. It was some men. But the Lord was just telling me, comfort the people. So I was just telling the people, it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. Everything will be fine, And as soon as, while I'm saying this, I look up at the pier and I see, once again, government cars pulling up, all black, tinted out. You can't see inside of the cars. And, that long, I don't know what it's called, that long car that the president's ride in, right? It pulled up, right? So it was 2 cars in the front, that long car, 2 cars in the back, but only 2 bodyguards, 2, alphabet letter bodyguards got out with President Orange. And he did the same thing, walked into the warehouse, looked around, and as soon as he left and I couldn't see him no more, all hell broke loose. Soldiers came out of everywhere, all black, right? They didn't have on fatigue, no camouflage, no none of that. It was all black. You couldn't see their face. They had masks on. You could not see them, right? So once again, they unaliving everybody that they see, everybody that they saw. No mercy. Now, so I'm in there with women and children. It was some men in there with me, but majority, it was women and children, and they were unaliving everybody. So the Spirit of the Lord came on me, and the Lord said, fight. So I started fighting, and the Lord gave me a cry, like I sent out a cry, almost like a Kom Yashala, and all the people that were around, like the men and the women and the children, everybody started fighting, picking up whatever tool or weapon they could find, and just started to fight, and we started to win, and ultimately we took out all of the soldiers, and we started celebrating. But the Spirit came over me and said, it's not over. It's a little bit more, basically. Not like we got to go through this long process, but it's like the Lord was telling me, we almost there, but not quite. Right? And sure enough, those 3-letter security guards came back. President Orange didn't come back, but those 3-letter security guards came back, but they came back deep. Right? It wasn't the soldiers anymore. It was the 3-letter security guards that was coming through. And the Lord said, get ready to fight again. And I woke up. I said, this was years ago, man. This may have been at the beginning of President Orange's first term, or it may have been slightly before. I cannot remember, but I just remember those events happening in the dream. And I remember the 2 dreams happening back to back. So, based off of what's going on in the world today, how the daughter of Babylon spokesman or spokespeople, right, which is the Congress and ultimately leading to the Senate, have passed a bill to merge certain aspects of the daughter of Babylon's military to the IDF. If you don't know what the IDF is, look it up. Right? And that's something unprecedented. That's something that has never been before for a powerhouse nation to allow another nation to ultimately infiltrate its powerhouse. So who's to say? I don't know if those dreams were spot on as to things to come or not, but I know what the Lord showed me, and I know what I saw, and I know what I felt, and I know what's going on in the earth today, and I know what I've been seeing over social media. The thought of, well, the daughter of Babylon could be prepping up to go at its own citizens, because they understand that the daughter of Babylon soldiers would hesitate to go against their own people, especially if they feel that the orders that's being given are unconstitutional, because that's your whole purpose of being a soldier, policeman, or whatever, is to uphold law, right? Law that's already established, i.e. constitution or whatever state law, right? So the solution to that would be to bring in an outside source that have that heartless mentality, right? I.e. Pre-Israel, Iran, but Israel and Palestine, and what happened in that particular conflict, which I believe is still popping, even though Iran came into the picture. I believe they still getting the business over there too. But nevertheless, it's all becoming clear as it pertains to who were these soldiers in my dream that were draped in all black, that were given access to the daughter of Babylon to do what they were doing, to unalive women and children and men, right? With the okay of President Orange. And here we are in 2026, and this legislation is about to hit the Senate and is projected to pass. Even though they try to, make it as though they're not merging the militaries per se. The government's over there is still the government over there, and the government over here is still the government over here. But yet and still, you have legislation that involves a foreign entity with information and abilities to what's the word I'm looking for? To co-op, right? To work together, right? And it's not to work together for a particular war or a particular cause, but period. Right? And like I said, who knows? That dream may have just been a dream, just like Scripture says. I just looked it up. Let me see. Sirach 34, and from the top it says, foolish people are deceived by vain hopes, and dreams get them all excited. A person who pays any attention at all to dreams is like someone who tries to catch shadows or chase the wind. What you see in a dream is no more real than the reflection of your face in a mirror. Right? So, who knows? It could have just been a dream. Right? It could have just been something that was going on in my mind. But the fact that the Lord brought it twice, man, took my mind instantly to Job 33. And verse 14, for power speaketh once, yea twice, yet man perceiveth it not. Right? Let me read the rest of it. It says, in a dream and a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, in slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from man. In the NLT it reads, from starting at verse 14, for power speaks again and again, though people do not recognize it. He speaks in dreams, in visions of the night, when deep sleep falls on people as they lie in their beds. So not all dreams are vain. Some dreams actually hold prophecy, i.e. Daniel, right? And in other areas as well in the scriptures, right? It says in verse 15, he speaks in dreams and visions of the night when deep sleep falls on people as they lie in their beds. He whispers in their ears and terrifies them with warnings. Right? With warnings. He makes them turn from doing wrong. He keeps them from pride. And since those two dreams, a lot's been going on. Not only did Buddy serve one term, he's on term 2. And like I said, everything that's going on in the world today kind of points to those dreams being accurate. So, with that being said, we'll go to Romans 13. This is my scripture. And 11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than we believed. Man, I feel in my spirit, man, this place ain't got that much time. Right? I know it seems peaceful and all now, but what the scripture say about peace? When they shall say peace, then comes sudden destruction. Right? It's always peace, quiet before the storm. You read scriptures, it's always that. Right? It get calm, then it get chaotic. Right? And once we reach that ultimate form of chaos, then come the Lord. Right? And that's exactly what we want, man. Because 2nd Esdras 6:9 says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. We're in Esau's world now, Job 9:24, and we're looking for the world to come. Right? Revelation chapter 20. So with that, I said, call Haloyim La Yahweh Yahweh Shai Bahasham Harakakudai Shalom Yasha Allah Wa Abba Ball.